today with us, we have Professor Daniel Fung. Professor Fung, thank you very much for taking our time to join in this interview. My name is Yewande Oshodi, the current Secretary General of IACAPAP, and we're honored to have you on behalf of the Executive Committee of IACAPAP and the Bureau. I want to say thank you for accepting to do this interview. This interview serves as a platform through which we want to glean from your past experience of being a member of IACAPAP of many years, a past president of IACAPAP, and indeed currently still on the Bureau, and what your experiences have been and what your future thoughts are around IACAPAP. I'm going to start with a couple of questions. So can you just let us know how you became a member of IACAPAP and in what capacity, and how did that evolve over time?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Yewande. It's a real pleasure to be here. Let me start with an introduction of Singapore, a small, tiny island in the tip of the Malaysian peninsula. We are about 700 square kilometers in low tide. And so we're really small. We have a population of close to 6 million people. We only have today, we have 300 psychiatrists. But when I first joined IACAPAP in 2006, that was the first meeting that I attended as a participant. The president was Myron Melfer. The theme was Child and Adolescent Mental Health, Nurturing Diversity. I believe that was about 1,400 delegates from 65 countries. I was really sort of bowled over by the scale of the diversity and the number of people. 165 is about half of, less than half, but a lot of countries to be, and
it is,
and because of that, I was quite impressed by the conference. And the conference was diverse in terms of not just the content, which was not, very often when you go to the scientific congress, you're meeting a lot of medical and pathology surrounding the conditions that you describe. But in IACAPAP, we actually had a very balanced approach. There were parents and carers perspectives of non-professionals, and that was important to child and adolescent mental health. And I believe that started me on this journey. I was really interested in IACAPAP meetings. The following meeting in 2008 was in Istanbul. And that meeting, I got to meet some of the seniors in child psychiatry, and really made me feel very involved. You see, I had just come back at that time from a stint in Toronto in the year 2000. And I was practicing and also head of department of our small, tiny department of child psychiatry, where we have about, today, about 12 psychiatrists who are trained, mostly overseas. And so I got to meet people like Barry Nurcombe, Susie Dean, of course, Myron Belfer, and all these seniors who gave us, and Per Anders, of course, an insight into the life of a child psychiatrist, what it means to advocate for child and adolescent mental health. And I also got to meet the Japanese lead. I think it was Kozuke. Kozuke Yamazaki has passed away, unfortunately. So has Barry and Per Anders. They were quite pivotal, I think, in influencing me to some degree. And, at that meeting, I also got to meet Tom Achenbach, because Singapore had embarked on a national epidemiological survey of school children, which I and my team had started at that time. And so to be able to see Tom, who developed the child behavior checklist, was great. And there was a small site meeting with the Achenbach system, the CBCL teams from the US, and it was generally very interesting for me to be able to meet people in person. And I think,
so can I take you back a bit, just a bit, because you picked up from where you came back from Canada. and then joined the IACAPAP. Tell us a bit about yourself, how you even got into child psychiatry. Let us know how Professor Daniel Fung became a child psychiatrist
Yeah.
and then ended up becoming the president of IACAPAP at some time. And I'll mention the years in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did talk about it earlier, but I became a child psychiatrist. Really, the seed was sown way back in the 90s. I'm trying to remember when exactly it was. I think it was in 1988 to
Yeah.
1989.
Okay.
The reason why I remember the dates is very simple. The person who influenced me to think about child psychiatry was actually my late father-in-law. He was a child
Oh, wow.
psychiatrist at that time. He passed away in 1989. At that time, he was not my father-in-law because I was not married yet. But I was dating his daughter, and and I met him a few times, and he gave me a book. A book, I believe it's called Psychological Medicine, the story, which I still keep with me. And he was a child psychiatrist, but I was drawn to psychiatry because of that. A few other people, of course, influenced me. People like John White, who was an evangelist, who was also a psychiatrist, and then I did have a friend when I was in university who committed suicide when he was in his final year of his honors
Oh, wow.
degree. And
That's sad.
when I was reflecting on his death, I mean, now today as a psychiatrist, I clearly say that we had all the signs of a mental illness, but we did not see it. So
Didn't recognize
we
it.
didn't recognize his bipolar
Yeah.
disorder, which
Yeah.
was very obvious to a psychiatrist, but not to the untrained eye. I think those were the things that influenced me to go into psychiatry. And because of my father-in-law, obviously, I enjoyed my child psychiatry posting quite a fair bit. I got to meet his colleagues and who spoke well of him. I therefore then considered this would be my calling. I think it was in the 95, 96 when I was doing a posting. I also met the head of department then and my future mentor, Dr. Chai Ming, who was actually an adult psychiatrist, was pulled into child psychiatry because there was a shortage of manpower, largely caused by the death of my father-in-law, and many they had to move two of the adult psychiatrists to do child psychiatry and get them trained
Okay.
in the process. So with Dr. Chai, we got a chance to really learn about how to develop services from scratch almost, because there were very few of us. He had to get trainees and interested parties. There were a lot of doctors who were in psychiatry, but not all of them wanted to do child psychiatry. And the reason was very simple. Child psychiatry is a bit complex. You have to work with families. Not every psychiatrist likes that. They like to work with individuals. But I enjoyed the posting. And after that, I decided to return. By then, the department had grown somewhat. There were at least about 5 or 6 of us. And after my training in Toronto, I came back and became a consultant. That is the equivalent of what you would call an attending psychiatrist. It's a trained psychiatrist who's in the department. My first posting, I think, was in the inpatient service. And we had just opened our new hospital, which is in 1993, and there was a new department. So what used to be just called an outpatient clinic, the child guidance clinic, became the Department of Child Adolescent Psychiatry. And I was running I joined in the inpatient ward and eventually started running it as a consultant, which was a real eye-opener for me. And we have a 20-bedded ward. I also enjoyed that. So eventually, I don't know whether it's luck or just, it's just because I'm enthusiastic about it. And there are not many choices, I presume. I became the head of department. So I was asked to look after the department, grow it. we managed to attract a number of psychiatrists in training, residents,
Okay.
or what we call trainees in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And so now the department is, at least about 20 strong.
Wow.
With
So that little guidance clinic, or what did you call it, has
the
grown
child
into
guidance clinic. Yeah,
child guidance clinic actually grew.
yeah.
And I think that's the story of IACAPAP, where we nurture the children that we see through the work that we do. And it looks like you did the same by starting that clinic. Can I go on and ask you a bit about your leadership reflections? You served as president of IACAPAP from 2018 to 2022. And in that period of time, what was the experience like? What were the key things that struck you? What were the key landmarks that you think your presidency achieved, your team, when you led as president? I'm sorry, I'm asking like 4 questions in one, but
Okay.
just to
Okay,
help
go
you
one
make
at a time. Yeah.
the rest, but robust, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I really got into presidency, not just it jumped into me. It was really through a series of learnings that I had over the conferences and interacting with the people. So I had a chance to interact with, I would say, a couple of child psychiatrists in my way to sort of deciding how we would look at child psychiatry and its role in the big picture of the world. I think the people who influence me are people like Jo Ray.
Okay.
Actually visited the child guidance clinic when I was hit back in the early 2000. He was doing
Okay.
a twin tour around the world, which I thought was very interesting. And he told me he was visiting hospitals, trying to understand how people run services and to get insights into his work. So I was very
Interesting.
curious, and we were very welcoming to him, of course, because usually we go out and learn, rarely
Yeah.
come and learn from
Do they
us.
come and watch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
what you're doing.
so in fact, I learned from him that ability to go and see things, and you can always learn. Every country that I visited, whether it's a developed or developing,
Yeah,
I
there's
have
always
found
something to
some
learn.
learning. Exactly.
So true. So true.
So
Yeah.
Joe was that influence, and later on, of course, when he developed the international textbook and online version, it was
Hmm.
just a reflection of what he has gleaned from all these journeys. The second
So
person I
true.
must say is from Myron. Myron Belfer is a very senior child psychiatrist. He's now perhaps one of our oldest child psychiatrists.
Yes, he's
IACAPAP
retired now.
yeah,
Yes, past
who's
president also.
exactly
Yes.
who's been in the system, seen a lot of things, but he's so humble, and so willing to sort of share his experience in all kinds of situations. What I've learned from him is collaboration. That we can't do everything ourselves, but if we bring people together, we can get things done. Yeah, and I gotta say that the last person who has given me a lot of insights is my colleagues, and I say person, but it's persons because there's a bunch of colleagues from Asia that
Okay.
were very encouraging. So when I became head of my department, I also happened to be on a work group with on ADHD. And I got and it was organized by Jensen at the time. So this is a drug company, but they had managed to bring all these Southeast Asian leaders in child psychiatry together to discuss about the promotion of ADHD and, of course,
Okay.
treatment, as Jensen is a drug company. But we took advantage of that. We had the opportunity to meet each other. And I
Yeah.
really learned from the camaraderie. So, there were the Japanese child psychiatrists who sometimes had difficulties communicating their thoughts, but had very deep thinking into the area. We had our Korean colleagues as well. We had our Southeast Asian neighbors. We all had opportunities to share. And I think that learning from one another was so important. For me, it gave me the idea that, well, in Asia, where I think there are only 2 places in the world, or maybe 3, where children are still, being able to replace the population. So Asia is one of them, Africa is the other, and the last is of course South America. But we have so much sort of wealth of information, but the knowledge that is gleaned in the developed world is really not transferred. So that grew in me a desire. We actually, the Asian Society of Child Adolescent Psychiatry and Allied Professions was a member of IACAPAP, and it was formed in the 90s. And it was an opportunity really to get that going. And I learned a lot from my Asian colleagues. They provided me with the cultural sort of background and the idea that even in small groups, right, we can do a lot for our region. So that gave me that idea, that collaboration, willingness to learn from one another, and then working together for our region was important. And I took that with me towards developing sort of my vision, if that's the right word, for IACAPAP.
When you were president, right?
When I was president,
okay.
I basically said, look, we've got all of this expertise. We have the desire, the motivation in our heart, but we need to get a system together that would work. And that's when, during my presidency, I don't claim to have done great things, but what I've tried to do is to develop what I call connecting the dots. We've got all of these aspects. We need to make sure that it's properly administered so that the transfer of knowledge, the experiences can be done in a systematic way. Kudos, of course, to our earlier predecessors, all the leaders who have brought the community together. My job was to make sure that this community exists and can sustain itself. So I thought that, we want to do good, but we want to do it better, and we want to make sure it's well done so that we can continue to sustain this and scale this to the world. And I think that's been what I tried to do. I tried to bring some system into place. We're very lucky to have administrative support. We've got plans, and I think that's what I brought to the table.
So it seems like you literally try to just work on improving what you meant by putting a bit more structure around it. Would that be correct?
Yeah, and to create a structure that was sustainable. I was concerned about organizations that exist purely on volunteer power is not going to really work. And so I think now we have that mindset in place. We're trying to see how we can continue to sustain. So I'm excited by that.
If memory serves me right, it was in your term that we had the services of a formal, administrative staff, who is still working with us till date. Is that correct?
Yes,
so that's
right,
a kind of thing, and definitely it has helped with efficiency of the association in several ways. So thank you for that. If you would think around what the impact of IACAPAP has been over the years, from and then even from your tenure till date, what would you say would be the top great impacts? We do know it's made impact, but it's just nice to kind of like look through your eyes. Are there ways in which we've made impact, and maybe ways in which we can make even greater impact?
I think the biggest impact that we have done, I think, is in the knowledge sharing and transmission. So as we know, I think with all professions, the ability to transfer the professional knowledge and training is key. And being able to do it systematically, we've been able to produce a number of publications which we have now transmitted electronically and being developed into new ways and forms. The best of which I would say is the IACAPAP textbook.
Textbook,
So
yes.
yeah, we basically been creating materials, but we haven't been able to consolidate it. And the credit all goes to Joe Ray really with the inspiration. But now it's all the members who have put in effort and all the names that are on the list. You can see it's across the world. This is
Yeah.
this is an example, I think, of how when people have a similar mindset, a vision for something that they can share openly without using if you write a book and then you sell it, publishers control the price. It's not going to have that universal reach. But we've been able to collect and maintain textbook relevant evidence-based materials
Yeah.
online. So that to me is one of the biggest impact. Alongside this, we have a lot of other sort of educational innovations, but this I think is the first step. So to me, that's the most important.
It's had the biggest
the open
impact.
sharing.
I think, and the beautiful thing about the IACAPAP textbook, which you're referring to, is that even people that are not members of the association can have access to it and use it. I think that makes it, really great. Truly, wow. That's a good one, and it's currently undergoing review. So we're having the
second version.
the second version coming out. So hopefully it's going to have another round of great impact, around the world. So if I could ask you concerning advice for early career psychiatrists, with the wealth of your experience for younger colleagues coming up, what would you say would be things that you think they should be focusing on, as they come into their career? And what do you think IACAPAP as an association should also be focusing on as we move into the future? So 2 questions in one, for the early career psychiatrist and then for IACAPAP itself.
Well, I think for the earlier career psychiatrists and child psychiatrists in the making, we don't.
Child psychiatrists,
we don't know how the professions will evolve. In small countries, training may be compressed into you have to deal with all age groups, but you're a psychiatrist, or the profession may continue to develop in those ways, but the practice may expand. That means we are not limited by our jurisdiction. You can be in Australia and also be in Africa at the same time because of
at the same time.
So for the young career psychiatrists, I think focus on connection. How do we connect with our patients and their families? I think that's quite important. A lot of times we are caught up with the way we do things, whether it's a clinical interview or a mental state examination. That's a basic skill that you will train in. But what's more important is how do you connect with your the people that you are looking after? Are you going to connect it digitally? Because this is generally Generation X or Z? What does this look like? Do we connect in person, or do we connect in other ways? I'm not sure because technology will change. Maybe next time we will be talking to each other through our electrical brain signals. Bit science fiction, but I've always wondered how those connections.
As a lover of technology, being a lover of technology yourself, so I'm sure you have lots of curious thoughts around that. Yeah.
So digital mental health, I think, will be quite critical in this new generation, and there'll be a generational change in how we practice. And of course, practice may change beyond the geographic borders. There are still a lot of regulatory frameworks and controls in place, but I suspect that may slowly erode, largely because this world will become much more globalized. I know it's in a time like this where we are polarized, I still believe that the globalized world is the way forward, and the Earth itself is one big sort of nation. But I know that unfortunately the world seems to be saying that this United Nations, but let's really unite for at least health.
For real, yeah.
For IACAPAP, I think we need to think about using technology to help us in our work. One example is the creation of digital twins. There are ways and means to get information across that will mimic you very well if you train artificial intelligence and some of these new technologies. So I believe that that will increase and enhance education to sort of allow for example, you can attend, you can give 5 lectures, some of which are given by others that are not you, but they are trained to be just like you. So the transfer of knowledge may become increased and enhanced. So there may be a lot more opportunities for that with the use of technology. So I do think that IACAPAP will leverage on technology to do its job of connecting. And I still think connection is important. It's just that human connection, as we understand it today, is always about the face-to-face. But I think technology will change some of this. It doesn't change the face-to-face experience. It just changes the way this is being done, and that's, to me, an exciting thing. I know some people that could be quite a dysphoric future, but or dystopic world, but it doesn't have to be. So I think the use of technology in our work is going to just increase, and as psychiatrists, we need to embrace it. Of course, be aware of potential risks, but really embrace it. Just the other day, I was running a clinic, and I was trying to talk to the patient, but we have electronic records. So if the traditional way, I would be typing and talking, and it's very disruptive. I was able to use AI to listen to the conversation and give me a summary at the end of it, and it was pretty good. There were some parts I had to adjust, but it was pretty good. So I think the future will be like this, where
I like how you said we need to embrace it, because I can imagine some of us will probably feel a bit uncomfortable, but the
cringe.
key word
Yeah,
is embrace it, embrace it.
yeah,
Yes, and at least you could pay attention to your patient rather than try to focus on making your notes,
yeah.
courtesy of AI. So if I got you correctly, for the early career psychiatrists, they need to focus on connectedness. They should prioritize that. And for IACAPAP as an association, we need to be ready for the use of artificial intelligence and be willing to embrace its use in the work that we do. Thank you for that insight. So as we begin to round up now, I'll just maybe ask you just one or two more questions. When you think about legacy and vision, as in your career as a child and adolescent psychiatrist and your role in IACAPAP, what will you highlight as maybe your priorities going forward, or maybe over the years that's coming into what legacy and vision you have for this work?
I'm not interested in legacy per se. If I think more importantly, I need to. I'm approaching Erickson's 8th stage, right? And I would love to be able to integrate my experience in forms of wisdom that is available to me, and that would be writing. I believe I'm blessed with the ability to write, and I will continue to write. I think there are many challenges ahead. There are things that we're confronted with. The overuse of technology, the over professionalization of services trouble me. Families have responsibilities too. So that's one example. How do we professionalize families? That means train them to have competencies to manage, not everything to go and see a professional. Because in today's very democratized world, everyone has access. But that access is, sort of, sometimes I feel that's too much access. That every problem, let's ask a psychiatrist, perhaps you should say, what's the value system that we've got? What is it like? So I like to delve deeper into some of these areas. The other thing that I've been talking a lot about is actually spirituality. I think there's a need for us to consider the domain of spirituality beyond the biopsychosocial. Spirituality is a 4th dimension. We need to consider this in the value systems that we create for our young. I think that the rising suicide rates and the mental health rates are a reflection of the lack of foundation in what's meaningful and what is purposeful in life. And not everything is answered purely on science alone. The body and the brain are just two parts of a three-part system, and the spiritual piece needs to be considered. We need to study it. We need to see how it can
Interesting.
enhance and make life better. So that's an area that I'm particularly interested in.
Yeah.
And alongside that, social media, I think it's a bit more technology oriented, but it's one of those. See, I think social media is a moral panic. It's creating a sort of fear that, oh, this is a bad thing. It isn't neither good nor bad. It is. But the use of technology, we need to think about how do we embrace it in a proper way so that we do not get lost in it and it doesn't lead us down paths that are dark and difficult.
Unhelpful. Yeah. That's food for thought. The thought around thinking more about the role of spirituality when we think about the services we offer. And hopefully you'll be able to put some thoughts in a book for those coming behind. Or you think about, all the books you're going to write as legacy options, that you'd share.
Well, I'm not sure if people will read books, so we have to think about how that transmission and
use technology to get it across. Yeah. Professor Daniel Fung, thank you so much. I wonder if you have any pressing last comments you'd like to make as we bring this to a close, for the viewer who may be an IACAPAP member, a non-IACAPAP member who will, come across this video somewhere down the line. What will that be?
My final words would be, I think we all come as part of a social system, and that's called our family. I think it's important to always try to go back to your family, spend time with your family, and love your family because they are your basic unit for connections. And, I'm very blessed to have a large family, but you can too. Just, work on it. Some of the family members may be far away. Today, with technology, connection is not difficult.
Yes, connect with family. So on that note of connect with family, Professor Daniel Fung, I want to thank you very much for sharing, your journey with us, your experience, your thoughts and recommendations. It's been a huge privilege being able to interview you today. And yes, we will go back and connect with our families. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Thank you.